here we are on the way to Joshua Tree. Another episode of photo tricks and travel tips with me, Harry van Gorkum. We've stopped in Palm Springs to have the very important Denny's breakfast, and we're going to have 2 days total in Joshua Tree. We're going to be staying in a very small basic cabin in the middle of the desert, which has an outdoor shower. Which is tucked away because I'm going to do a lot of night photography on this trip. Wall Street Mill, where there's some abandoned cars. I want to do some light painting on the abandoned cars. But today we're going to go to Macedon Peak. We're going to hike up Macedon Peak to get some views of from Cottonwood Trail, coming in the south end of the park through Cottonwood. Because I like to do that. You come in Cottonwood and then you drive the whole way through the park for sunset, probably at one of the rocks, to see what the light's doing. Anyway, that's it. So the photo tips in this episode are going to be landscape photography in Joshua Tree, detailed photography in the Cholo Cactus Garden, and night photography, including star trails and hopefully some light painting. So stick with me. Hope it works. So here we are at Cottonwood Spring, about to go to Macedon Summit. These grey boxes, probably pretty obvious, but these grey boxes here, these metal grey boxes, inside each of these, there is a great guide to the area you're going to be at. Cottonwood Spring Botanical Trail Guide, which tells you all the fauna, all the flowers that you're going to see on the trail, gives you all the details, what you're going to come across on the trail. So these free guides are always really useful to get. I've come across these really lovely Cholo cactus, and even though it's quite bright, I'm getting a shot of the Cholo cactus in front of the rocks and the landscape and the blue sky behind, because we've got no clouds today. I can play with those lights and shadows and create some magic, and you can see the finished photograph here. So, still on the way on the trail, and I found this beautiful, what I call ball cactus, but there must be some other word for it. It's beautiful red, deep red. So I set the camera up low here, so we can get the ball cactus in the foreground, the mountains and the sky, which are starting to get really trippy, in the background. Again, stacking photos by doing multiple exposure, but always keep your eye out for any kind of, this is about 20 yards from the trail, and it stands out because it's red. So when you're hiking, always look out for the colours or changes in terrain. This will be a nice one. See what we get from this when we get home. 4:30, sun is setting, coming back down from the mountain peak. And one thing I was thinking when I was talking about light, it's very simple, and it sounds really corny as I go into the shade now, but as a photographer you have to be a moth, like a moth, because moths are attracted to the light. So when you're walking around on a trail like this, you're always looking for anything which is lit, backlit, side lit, which gives it 3 dimensions, which gives it depth to a photograph, which can give you light in the foreground or dark in the background, or just one plant lit can make a photograph work. So photographers have to be like moths. I'm not the first person to say that, I know, but it just suddenly came to my mind that it's something to remember. Always look for the light. Walking through these tall yuccas here on this trail. Beautiful light now. The light now is getting lower and softer, it's going behind clouds. So as a result, you get this incredible light behind me. As you can see, maybe on the trees and on the ash tree through there, you get this beautiful light in the dark sky. It's going to take a shot of that. It's just dying down now, but I've never seen a sky like that. Never. The sky was absolutely stunning. It was just wild. That's the luck of being somehow, somewhere, sunset, when you've got a Joshua tree, when you've got the rock formations behind me here, to shoot again. So here we are, second day, day 2. Just had a great breakfast in Joshua Tree town itself, a place called the Crossroads Cafe, which I always go to. Very local hangout, very cool, very un-Denny's, and it's a great place to start the day. And then, looking through the photographs from yesterday, I was very happy. Got some keepers. Got at least, I'd say, 4 keeper photographs, which is not bad from one day shooting. Not even a day, actually. I didn't get to Joshua Tree until, what, 3 o'clock? So today, it is really cold. Yesterday was in the 70s. Today is in the 40s. It is freezing cold wind. There was a wind last night, which was so strong. The tiny place I was staying at in the desert was being buffeted by the wind. It was incredible wind. Anyway, that's not really important to you. What's important is what we're going to do today. What we're doing today is we're going to Barker Dam to start with, to do the trail to the old mine there I love. Lots of old cars, lots of old machinery, juxtaposing the old beaten up metal with nature around it. So we're going to do that. So join me on that trip today. And now we're heading to the Barker Dam trailhead to hike to the Mill Street. I always forget the name of it. Wall Street Mill, which is a 1.5 hour, 2 hour hike there and back. So now we're driving the dirt road down to Wall Street Mill. If you have a 4-wheel drive car, you can do this. It takes about a third of, I don't know, maybe a mile off your trip, of your hike. It's a nice little dirt road anyway, gets you away from the crowds again. So here we are on Wall Street Mill Trail, quite quiet today. And I was thinking, as I was driving here, of 2 of the most, well, kind of obvious but useful photographer tips. And the first one is, if you take a trail or you get out of the car and you see something you want to photograph and you walk towards it and you photograph it, never walk back the same way. Always walk back a different way, because you never know what you're going to see. You know where your car is. I mean, don't go for miles into the outback and then get lost. But if you're close enough to where the car is, come back a different route, because then you get different views and you may see something different. Is to be a landscape photographer, you have to be what's called paranoid. And what I mean by that is, there may be something great in front of you. The photograph you see is right there in front of you. The sky is going off, the light is fantastic, but always stop and look behind you, because you never know what's behind you. There could be an amazing view behind you going on, but you're missing because you're so focused on what's going on in front of you. So this is why we're here. This beautiful old car, for example, this old truck. Behind it you have the mountains. There you have that lovely mountain there. So the photograph I'm trying to get here, as you can see from the light of my camera, is roughly that. So you get the truck and the mountain in behind. But the detail on this old truck is absolutely gorgeous. Got the tattered wheels, got the engine block still there, the door. This is why we hike to Wall Street Mill, just to get this kind of great shot. There's another great shot I've just seen. It's cold, and as a result there's no one else here. have the whole mine to myself. I've met one person on the trail leaving. So let's get shooting. So here's a classic example of what I was talking about, the juxtaposition of the old and the new. So here's the rock formation, and we're right down now, pretty well right outside Wall Street Mine. So I'm setting up a shot here, as you can see. So we got a lovely old wall. We got the cogs. We got the the mine machinery for gold mining. All this, and then in the background you get the beautiful rocks of Joshua Tree with a good sky behind. So again, bracketing on this, probably about 7 shots, but starting really light, probably about F9 all the time, shutter speed 10 up to about 200. Okay, so here's a photography secret. When you first start walking down Wall Street Mine Trail, you take the first left out of the parking lot. There's a small track. Take that track down. I call it the Pink House track, because it takes you to this Pink House ruin, which is not on any map or anywhere in Yosemite Tree is even marked. And he had some great shots through the windows of the Joshua Tree in the mountains behind. Again, a great chance to see modernity against the rocks and the Joshua trees. So here we are. It's now probably about 7 o'clock at night, and I'm heading back to the Wall Street Trail to try and get some star trails and some light on one of those abandoned cars. Marked arrows to where the trail was, and also put crosses in the dirt where I wanted to put my camera. The first marker, so I know I'm not taking that trail, I'm taking this trail here. This is what we've hiked to in the middle of the night. It's a beautiful old truck, which we're going to shoot now from various spots and paint it with light with the rocks behind. So there should be marks here. Here's my first mark right here. So that's the first setup. So what we're doing here is got the camera set up, as you can see. Just had a visit from the park ranger to make sure what I was doing was okay. I wasn't vandalising the car, which is good to check. And then the car is over here. And what I'm doing is with this great LED light, I'm lighting the car with this flashlight. I'm lighting different bits of it. I'm lighting the foreground, I'm lighting all the areas over here. And then that's called light painting. So that's the idea, I'm painting with light. I've taken one shot of the sky with the stars, which is your background shot. Usually shoot that at 2.8 if you can, on a wide angle lens, the widest as you possible, and on an ISO of about 6400. And I know that's weird, but to 2.8, because that's what the stars like. Focus on the stars, take that. Then you focus on the foreground, and you go down to about 1000 ISO and shoot for about, I'm shooting for about a second, depending on how close the object is, and do about, I'm doing about 18 shots of that. And as I move around, I hear the click, I flash. Click, I make some light. Click, I make some light. Let's see what we get.